The Art Beat, a weekly program putting you in touch with artists and arts events from the J.T. and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts at Texas Tech University. Hello and welcome to this week's Art Beat on KLZK FM 105.7. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. I'm your host, Peter Martins, and I am here happily with someone from our School of Art at Texas Tech University, Erin Russell, who is the Assistant Director of Landmark Arts. Good day to you.
Yes. Hello.
Thanks for being here. So as involved in the administration and running of Landmark Arts, you wear a lot of different hats. Mm-hmm. And that in part is because Landmark Arts is a kind of a diverse thing, right? But what I first came to know it as is, okay, it's this gallery space in the School of Art on the campus of Texas Tech. That's Landmark Arts. But that's only one side of it, right? Or one maybe small part of it. Tell us about the other areas of this.
It's actually even gotten bigger since I've gotten here because now it includes the outreach and engagement that we do for the Rural Arts Initiative, which is taking different educational programs to rural schools and delivering these workshops and providing the teachers with tools how they can sort of continue these ideas in their classroom. And that just started, and so it's even gotten bigger what Landmark Arts represents because it also includes our speaker engagement element of Landmark Arts. And so when we have speakers come in and talk to students, when we have grad visits, they'll do studio visits with the grad students visiting artists, or even the jurors sometimes will do that. They'll give talks as well. And so it's a big umbrella because it's not just the gallery spaces, because Landmark Arts, there's literally a gallery called Landmark Gallery, and that's where our bigger shows are. It's the nicer space that's a little bit closed off instead of just being in the hallway. And so that's where our bigger exhibits that teachers and faculty propose exhibits, and then sometimes they collaborate. Like the next one going in Landmark Arts Gallery is Boreana and Totiva. Right. They collaborated on this exhibition together. Dr. Totiva works in our art history and art appreciation department. And so she collaborated with this other professor that was in our painting department. And they're coming up with this exhibit. And they have like 3 different artists. Some of the work even came from, I think, Korea. So we have international work as well coming into that space. And so Landmark Arts isn't just the one gallery. It's actually all those things. It's the outreach and engagement. It's the speakers and engagement programming, which includes sometimes even workshops. We just held a workshop using the Lot Fund. And so we just had a workshop at CASP in the print studio with 2 alumni that actually you got prints, and sometimes you could even engage with them. Kids were making mono prints too. And so it's a lot bigger. And I think it's exciting to see also how it's expanding through the outreach and engagement and what that can mean too for the community, because we were a separate entity and now we're trying to sort of represent just the TTU as a campus as a whole, because I feel like we do end up separated a lot. And so I think the growth of Landmark Arts is one of those ways that we can sort of engage with the TTU campus.
Right. So you mentioned something, an event at CASP, the Charles Adams Studio Project. So this was something sponsored by Landmark Arts that was actually held not in a Texas Tech space, but held downtown at the Charles Adams. So to your point of this umbrella, it is a larger kind of sponsoring organization for a lot of arts activity based at Texas Tech, but not always simply occurring only at Texas Tech. And the teaching component you mentioned is really interesting, getting techniques and resources and such out there to local and even regional, right? Not just art teachers and such out there. Only one of them for maybe 100 miles in any direction. Yeah. So I'm sure that structure is really really helpful for those folks. So we're actually also talking about specifically an exhibit that has just opened in the campus spaces, right? Yeah. So why don't you tell us about what's happening right now that people can come and see?
Yes, our 40th. Like some of the people that have been here a while, they're like, oh my gosh, 40th? They were kind of surprised, and I think it helps us keep track. And so it's the 40th annual juried show exhibition. So it doesn't actually have to be just from the School of Art, which is the exciting thing, I think. It could be anybody enrolled that year in an art class. So ART has to be the course designation, and you can apply.
So you don't have to be a major. You can be a chemistry major that is in a pottery class, and you can enter something in this show.
Yeah. Even last year, we actually had a winner that wasn't from the School of Art. I think they're doing a minor now or something, but it was exciting that we kind of brought them in and they got to show their art off, and they weren't from the School of Art, because as somebody from a small school that didn't have a lot of resources and all those things, like, you don't know that you are possibly into art, or, sometimes you just try it. And maybe, especially if you're from a rural town, like, your parents can be like, what are you going to do with an art degree? So you go off and do something else. And then, you come back and you go, oh, no, this is great, And we usually have a lot of submissions from Carol Flukinger's Art and Sustainability class.
Okay.
And some of those even get in as well. And those are students from all over, biology, engineering. And so it's exciting to see that art can be represented not just from School of Art students, but everywhere.
Okay. So how does this jury process work? Tell our audience a little bit about
Yes. And so we accept the work. Students, the nice thing too is that it really gets them to learn about submitting to shows, because, there's a payment, there's a form, and they have to understand all these things. And so it's also a learning experience for the students, because, like, we don't even use that information, but that's something they're going to have to do in the real world. And so we make sure they have that.
There's a professionalization component here too. Okay.
And so they drop off all the work, and then after I have all the work received, the juror does a blind sort of review. So he doesn't have those names or that information. I don't think he even asks for the title information until after he, like, sort of goes through and, like, okay, I think I have a good amount. Let's go look at everything and we'll pare down again. And so he just goes through, and we have jurors come in from different places, because that way they're separated, and you can have somebody with a voice outside of School of Art saying, like, hey, your art is good. And I think that's really good for the students too. And we try to get, like, a range of people, because, so many different people have different aesthetics. They have different likes and things. And so it's also interesting to see how that is reflected in what the juror picks. They also pick 3 winners that actually get a cash prize. With that $5 you have to submit to enter your work, it actually goes towards those rewards. There's, like, first, second, and third prize, and then there's 3 or 4 honorable mentions each year. They get $50. I don't remember the first, second, and third right now how much they get, but yeah, so there's a cash prize, so there's also sort of that incentive, and they understand what's going towards their $5, paying the juror, and hey, we all, like, you get a prize possibly, and so that's exciting for them too.
Yeah, young visual artists or young artists of any kind, the first time you get that whatever $20 bill or something for doing what you love to do, it's a pretty exciting moment. So yeah, that's neat.
Yeah,
it's a neat setup. So who is the jury? Are you allowed to tell us who the juror is?
Yes, because he already came.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Michael Henderson, he's a professor at University of North Texas. He came in and juried, and I think he has a painting background. You can kind of see that there's a good amount of paintings, but he also was careful to make sure that everybody was represented. I think that each juror feels like that's important, that, like, okay, let's make sure all the mediums. They don't even look at, like, what their discipline is. They just want to make sure that it's a diverse show with all the different mediums. And so that's always exciting too, that it's so many different things.
So it just launched, and how many student artists are represented in the show relative to how many submitted work? I guess that's one thing I'm interested in.
Well, we usually try to show about 30 to 40 pieces, just because the space, it's in the studio gallery in the School of Art, which is the hallway gallery. So we can only fit so many, and so we usually mark it down to like 30 to 40. And so this year I think we accepted around 35.
Okay.
And we probably had 70 submissions, whereabouts.
That's fairly competitive, right? I mean, it's
so.
An honor to get into the show in the first place, much less win one of the prizes you were talking about. So are there focused moments where students kind of are there presenting their work, or are there receptions or kind of
yeah. So the reception is this Saturday, 5 to 7, and the awards will be announced at 6. They get their little cute certificate, and then we take their picture and we sort of celebrate, and, they have that moment and we all clap for them.
Sure, neat. So that reception is just to be clear with the audience, that's on Saturday the 28th at, you said 7 p.m. or
5 to 7.
Sorry, 5
and
to 7
And then the awards part will be announced at 6 p.m.
Gotcha. Okay. Some of our audience might be hearing this before that, and they could get to it, and some of our audience might be hearing this just the next day, and so I'm sorry you've missed it, but you can still go to the gallery and see the works through. How long are they up?
April 18th.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about where you've been in terms of developing this Landmark Arts umbrella and building out the things inside of it. How long have you been associated with Landmark Arts, and where did you come from?
So I've been associated with Landmark Arts pretty much since I got here, which I got here to do my PhD in 2018. And I had experience in galleries and doing exhibitions and stuff, so I asked to be placed in the gallery, and then I basically never left.
As a student worker, so to speak.
Yeah, as a student worker, that was my assistantship, half of it. And that's where I kind of learned the sort of things that were important to me about being an artist, realizing that participatory work is important, arts-based research is important to me. I guess I didn't mention this before. The School of Art also has 2 off-campus spaces.
Okay.
Studio D, which is in the studio spaces, like behind the main CASP building. Mm-hmm. Which is for faculty and grad students to use as a research space, but we use it for other exhibitions as well.
Sure. So First Friday exhibits, that
so
sort of thing.
So it's open, and so faculty can use it since they don't have studios on campus. That could be their studio to work on a certain project and then show it to the people at First Friday. I ended up using it for my dissertation and using it to sort of experiment, interacting with people and getting them talking about my concepts and engaging with arts-based research on a bigger scale than my decided demographic of my dissertation topic. So it was helpful for me as well. So that's why it's a good space. Satellite Gallery is just next door to the CASP 5 and Jave Gallery, and it's for student exhibitions. TTU Satellite Gallery is also a space for us to make sort of collaborations happen with outside of the School of Art.
Neat. So could be an interdisciplinary collaboration between TTU entities, but it's still happening off campus.
Yeah.
But as you were saying, with maybe your own work as well, it also helps get kind of out of our academic silo and interacting with the community, right?
Yeah, and starting conversations. But so I was working in the gallery, and anytime, for some reason at Satellite Gallery, October was a hard month to fill sometimes, and Joe would be like, you want to put up a show? And it was like 2 weeks, and I would all of a sudden be like, okay, let's do this. And so I would throw something in there, and I would keep practicing doing these sort of participatory projects, like the audience could come and type a message on a typewriter and put it in a bottle. And we filled the gallery with sand. That was great. Some people did not like it. But
I suspect unfilling the gallery of sand was more of a challenge.
Yes, it was. I love how the school groups us together with theater and music, and so I actually got really close, and I was collaborating a lot with 2 theater students. That was a space for us to collaborate, and we did different things. It became like whenever we had one of these moments of like Joe being like, we have to have it filled, and a panic moment, it became a space for us to sort of play and experiment and make these collaborations happen. And I think that's what made me realize, like, hey, I think I want to do gallery work, do art space research and outreach. And so my dissertation kind of shifted. For me, I really wanted to start conversations with people, because that's all of a sudden like what I loved with these exhibitions, like starting conversations, because that's how you enact meaningful change. And by doing interactive work, it's easier to make those conversations happen, I realize, with the audience. And so there was an opening in the gallery. Like I had just graduated, and I was like, hey, can I just get a part-time job, a part-time position? I know, I'm qualified. And so I was part-time working in the gallery right after I graduated, which was the semester 2024 spring semester. And then the position ended up opening up for the assistant director. And
Joe, the full position.
Yeah. And so Joe came to me and he's like, hey, would you be interested? And I'm like, well, only if there's outreach and engagement, because that's what's important to me.
Okay.
And they actually ended up rewriting, and like he thought about that and he had conversations, and like they decided, hey, let's just rewrite this whole position because this is important, and we have the Rural Arts Initiative. And so this is a way to show the Rural Arts Initiative that this is a program that's going to stick. And so they rewrote the job title, job description, and so I applied for it, and then I kind of went in full force the first semester and really started doing these outreach things, got involved in Arts Fest, and it's so students of the local area, but also rural students. I believe Seminole, Slayton, Post, all those usually come too, Idalou. Okay. And so it's like rural and local get to come and do this little event at the CASP campus. I guess I'll call it that.
Sure.
And there's different workshops that happen. And so I went in, sort of wanted to get involved in this. And so we did a jelly print the first year. And this year now we've done scanogram demos at Arts Fest. So now we even have that connection with Luca where they're going to help support this Arts Fest programming, because they're like, hey, this was fantastic. Let's keep doing this. And so also with this outreach and engagement, it's about making connections, because now I worked a lot with the director of the Community Complex organization that sort of funds the Arts Fest. And so now we have that connection. So like it's not just about like going and doing these things. It's about building connections and relationships through the outreach.
Yeah, too. It sounds like it's really working. You've mentioned so many different institutions, Charles Adams Studio Project and the Louise Hopkins Underwood Gallery and Campus and the ISDs and outlying ISDs. So that's wonderful. That certainly will help the students that are coming up through the system feel more connected, but also just make more and better art here in the South Plains, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I think we even have one of those students that participated in Arts Fest in 2024 coming back to get their MAE because, they want to be more involved in this outreach programming. And so it's exciting to see that it's affecting the students on SOA campus, not just the sort of rural outreach that we're doing.
Sure.
So it's interesting that it's helping our community and the other communities. So it's like a dual thing, which is nice.
Yes, great synergy. Well, let me thank our guest here, Erin Russell. Thank you so much for giving us that rich picture of all the things that are happening in the orbit of the Landmark Arts Gallery, and specifically the student exhibit, the juried show that's up right now through April 18th in the School of Art building on campus. And we want to wish you best of luck in your assistant directing of this seemingly growing umbrella of things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great to talk with you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
The Art Beat, a weekly program putting you in touch with artists and arts events from the J.T. and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts at Texas Tech University.